a movie like this can help a country understand its drug problem?
You know, look, I think just the fact that you're asking the question means it's helping. I mean, if it can start a dialogue and make people, you know, this is an action movie that's a character study and a family drama. It's all these things, and I think it's entertaining. But I think if it can just make you ask me that question, it's doing its job. It starts a dialogue, you know.
Absolutely. Did you see the Frontline documentary? Did that help? Because the movie is a little bit based on that.
Sure. Yeah, I did, and I think that's sort of like the kernel that the story's based off of, and everything kind of sprouts out from there.
You had a very intense scenes with Michael Williams. Tell me about that scene. How was it to play with him?
Look, I was a huge fan of his going in. He was one of the things I was most excited about doing this movie. I think Omar from The Wire is one of the best characters ever played on TV. I love Chalky from Boardwalk, and I just think he's a great actor, and now he's a great friend. And it was great. It was great working with him. We really talked a lot about those scenes and talked a lot about who each other were. And it's great when you have an actor who's willing to really invest in backstory. And it was fun every day going to work with him.
And how was it to work with The Rock, Dwayne Johnson?
Awesome.
What did you learn from him?
You know, he's just such a humble, gracious. He's just an amazing guy, amazing person, and I love what he does in this movie, and I think that, you know, he's going to change a lot of people's opinions of him, and I love the fact that he's constantly reinventing himself, and when you think about all that guy's accomplished, it's really staggering.
You have what it takes to go undercover like him.
To go undercover like him.
Will you go undercover yourself?
Look, you know, I think that anytime you press a man and you get a man in a situation where he's got to do whatever it takes to look out for his family and take care of his children, you know, I think there's no telling what somebody would do, and I think I do feel that way about my kids.
What about working with Eric, the director? What do you think he brought that's so unique in this picture?
I think he's wonderful. I love working with Rick, and I'd do anything to work with him again. He is an absolute soldier of authenticity. He talks the talk and he walks the walk. He made a movie, Felon, about prison movie, brutal, very authentic, very gritty, beautiful movie. And he went undercover as a parole officer, and he dealt with some of the highest shot callers and gangbangers in all the California penal system. And you know, he really knows the world, and he doesn't do anything. It's not Hollywood for him. You know, he really tries to make it as authentic and real as possible. And he's such a great guy to work for in that way.
What was the biggest challenge for you doing this movie? Was there a particular tricky things about this film that you have to...
You know, I think tricky things. You know, I think that, you know, with him, it was really important to me that people didn't see, you know, the stigma that's attached to ex-cons and guys who spent big chunks of their life in prison are always looked at a certain way, and I really didn't want. I wanted this man to be a father and a guy who's trying very hard to do the right thing for his family and stay out of prison. And I didn't want this to look at like a guy who just no matter what keeps making bad decisions. I think that, you know, I wanted him to be wise, and I wanted him to be a good man, you know, a good father, and you know, hopefully that's what came out, you know.
What do you think are for you the theme, the messages that are conveyed through that movie? What touched you?
Yeah, I think you know, a lot of it is family. You know, no matter what world you come from, you know, you're you know, for these men, you know, the first and foremost, their job is to provide safety and security for their family and for their sons to have a better life than they did. But I think, you know, when you look at the social themes of the movie, you know, again, I think anytime you have a law that's just a mandate and it's an unfeeling, uncompromising law, I think you present situations where justice is not served. And I think that, you know, if we live in a society where, you know, rapists and murderers are spending less time in prison than drug traffickers, I think we really have to look at that situation.
Is it also about education and how we need to be careful about educating our kids and make them aware of the tough life outside?
Absolutely. I mean, look, I think both of these are dads who are doing their very best to try to present the world to their kids and try to say to stay out of trouble. But you know, I think people make mistakes, and I think that you know, part of being a father is to be right there with your kid and to get your kids back no matter what. And I think that's kind of, you know, the core of what this movie is about.
You were recently in The Walking Dead. Tell me about that experience and what did you keep from it?
I love The Walking Dead. You know, it was a wonderful show. People who make that show are family to me, and you know, I'm lucky enough to move on to work with Frank Darabont on his new show, and you know, Frank created The Walking Dead, and I'm so grateful to be working on the new show, L.A. Noire. And
what is that? What is it about? What character do you?
Frank. So it's about a guy. I play the main character who it's a Marine who fought in World War II in Guadalcanal, comes back to L.A. in the late '40s, and Mickey Cohen and Bugsy Siegel have taken over L.A., and it's about this one cop sort of navigating those waters and taking justice into his own hands. And there's no better person, I think, than the creator of Shawshank Redemption to sort of bring L.A. in the '40s to the small screen. So I think it'll be cool.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.